What if Deku had the Omnitrix's power? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Nothing But Anime. We're continuing our What If Deku Had the Omnitrix's Power series with Part 5. If you're enjoying this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest videos. Let's get started. Rank number 1. Izuku Midoriya. Villain points. 0/rescue points. 85. Rank number 2. Katsuki Bakugo. Villain points. 77/rescue points. 0. Rank number 3. Eijiro Kirishima. Villain points. 39/rescue points. 35. Rank number 4. Ochako Uraraka. Villain points. 28/rescue points. 35. Rank number 5. Ibara Shiozaki. Villain points. 36/rescue points. 32. Rank number 6. Itsukuwa Kendo. Villain points. 25/rescue points. 40. Rank number 7. Tenya Ida. Villain points. 52/rescue points. 9. Rank number 8. Testu. Villain points. 49/rescue points. 10. Rank number 9. Fumikage Tokoyami. Villain points. 47/rescue points. 10. Rank number 10. Tsu Ajui. Villain points. 15/rescue points. 35. /N. Okay. I realized that I made a slightly mistake in the last chapter. While writing the rankings, I went back and watched episode 5 to see the full ranks and saw that Kirishima was in second place behind Bakugo in the canon, and I realized that I put Uraraka in third place in the story. Ignore that, and I'll fix it after I publish this chapter. Hey! Check out the results from the exam. A teacher said while the panel of judges and teachers watched the results. Wow! The second place student didn't have any rescue points. A female spoke in the room. He took down those foes like an ace. When most of the examins were running from the big obstacles, he stayed focused on letting the smaller opponents coming close and counterattacking. That kid is tough. One male in the room spoke. But on the opposite end, the first place student had 0 villain points. The female spoke. He's not the first UA hopeful to take out that giant robot. But it's been a while since I've seen someone take it down with such a great force to take it down in one attack. The male spoke. Yes, and the way he transformed into that 4-armed form of his. It must be one hell of a quirk to have that much power to leave 2 dents on the head of the 0-pointer and to push it all the way back. It's insane. Another male spoke. While everyone was talking about the results, one man stood against the wall and watched Izuku transform and super punch the 0-pointer. Huh. Interesting. Dagobah Beach Park, Mizutofu, Japan. Time: 19:07 p.m. All Might was standing on the sandy shores of Dagobah Beach as the waves crash. He was admiring the work of his student. He still couldn't believe the work his student, a formerly quirkless kid with nothing, cleaned the whole beach in 10 months and still participate in an exam on the same day he finished. While watching the ocean, he heard rushing footsteps behind him. He turns and sees Izuku Midoriya running to him. "Hi, All Might!" Izuku shouted, which causes Toshi to spit out a lot of blood from his mouth. "Gah! Too loud, kid," Toshi said as the blood stops gushing out. "All Might's here." "No way, where?" All Might and Izuku get started and turn to see a couple on the pier of the beach, clearly on a date as they look around of the number 1 hero when they heard Izuku shouting. "Way to go on blowing my cover. Say it was a mistake," Toshi whispered to Izuku, who realized his mistake. "Right? I was just kidding. Nothing to see here," Izuku shouted to the couple on the pier. "Man, that's lame. I wanted an autograph." The couple were displeased from the mistake, Izuku said as they resumed their date. Toshi and Izuku sigh in relief that the couple bait the lie and high-five each other. "Congrats on getting in," Toshi said. "I couldn't have done it without your help," Izuku replied. "Oh, by the way, I didn't tell everyone at UA that I was training you. Only the important people know about you," All Might said, which confused Izuku. "Really? I wasn't one of the judges, nor I didn't pull any strings to help you get in. You did that on your own." All Might complimented Izuku, who bowed and sighed in utter relief and happiness. "Wow, really? Thanks for telling me that. I'm really glad you did that," Izuku said before he remembered something important. "Oh yeah, I was really surprised to hear that you were going to be a teacher at UA. I was wondering what brought you here since your agency might tower A/N. That is his really agency's name. I did research on him since they never mention it in the anime. Is in Minato," Tokyo, and everyone knows. Getting creepy. Izuku was cut off when Toshi stopped him from going full fanboy mode. The school didn't want me to tell anyone about it until they made an official announcement. The two of us meeting was great timing. Originally, I came here to find someone who could hold a candle well, Toshi said as Izuku remembered a few words Toshi said to him on the day they met. I was on the hunt to find someone worthy, so that's it. He was originally going to give it to a student, Izuku thought as he looked down to his hands, which the watch showed a little under his sleeve. Someone who's strong, who already has a quirk, Izuku thought until he saw the watch and a question popped in his mind. Your body complete drained mine and left my hand wrecked. And all I did was transform, jump and throw one punch, or to be accurate. I can't control in my normal or other forms. What do I do? Izuku asked as Toshi turns around and faces Izuku. You'll learn how to control in time both as you and the other forms. Hoping to master it right away is like asking a baby to run a marathon. You still have to go through the process on learning how to walk. I thought you'll know since you're learning the secrets of the watch, All Might said while pointing to Izuku's wrist. The boy lifts his wrist and looks at the mystery watch that nearly killed him on the day he found it. Yeah, wait. You knew that the backlash was going to happen. Izuku yelled in confusion as he realized the truth. Well, we're on a time limit and I wasn't too such how it'll affect you and the watch when they're both working together. But it turned out all right. And now you know what you're dealing with, All Might explained while giving Izuku a thumbs up. Right now, your quirk is either all or nothing. One day, you'll learn how to control your output and how to apply it to those forms of yours, and you'll be able on how to adjust how much power you're using, All Might said while picking up 2 spray cans on the sand. I just need control. Izuku realized the words his teacher was saying. You're overflowing with energy, but I suspect that the watch is either filtering it in the forms so you can handle the backlash better when you're one of them, All Might said as Izuku looked at the watch. Really? Yes, but over time. Your body will handle it better, Toshi said as he crushes the cans in his transformed hand as he turned into his hero form. Then it's yours to commend, All Might said while Izuku looked at him in awe before getting serious. Hey look, it is All Might. No way. Where'd he come from? The same couple that were there on their date saw All Might in hero form as the number 1 hero started to sweat a bit at his mistake. Right now we run, All Might said as he runs away from the excited couple. Why yes sir, Izuku said as he runs not too far from him. As the two ran, All Might looked over his shoulder to Izuku and started thinking. The torch I have passed on to you is but a small flame right now. But in time, it will be kindled until you wide a raging inferno. The more powerful you become, the more you'll outshine me. Eventually I'll retire with my job complete. Who deep stuff All Might thought as the two continued to run, but above them was a small red robot with one big red eye, watching them run before it takes off to the sky. Time skip, April. This time skip was brought to you by Chibi Izuku transforming Wild Mutt and Get Patted by Uraraka. Midoriya household, Muzutafu, Japan. Time, 7:45 p.m. At the apartment complex, one kid was getting ready of school. Izuku, are you all set? Inko asked as she was at the front door with her son while he was tying his shoes. Yeah, Izuku answered. Are you sure that you didn't pick any action figures this time? Inko asked worry. I have everything. Now I gotta go. I don't want to be late, Izuku said, a bit annoyed by his mom's worried side. Izuku, Inko shouted, causing Izuku to stop as he was literally out the door. What? Izuku asked as Inko looked down a bit before she looked at him with tears in her eyes. I'm really proud of you, son, Inko stated, causing Izuku to blush in happiness. I'll see you soon, Izuku said as he left the house, and on his way to UA Inko stood at the front door a little bit before she placed her hand on her chest. I hope I'm making the right decision, Inko thought before something started to vibrate on the table. She looked down and saw a circular, disc-like object marked with a green hourglass symbol on a black background. She picked the disc from the table and tapped on it as the hourglass glowed. This is plumber operative number 775789. Reporting, Inko said. Ah. Good evening Inko, or morning in Japan. A voice spoke through the disc as the hourglass flashed as the voice spoke. Hi, Magister Patelade. How are things? They're good. I just calling in to tell you that Agent Man is on her way to you right now. Estimated time of arrival? In the morning tomorrow, just as school starts. She'll head to UA and talk to N23 before begin her mission. Good. 'Cause Izuku just left. I think I should come to the base soon. I have this feeling something bad is coming, Inko said with concern in her voice. Don't worry, we'll monitor the boy right when he arrives at U.A. But knowing how your instincts are never wrong. Come to the base today and we'll talk there. Roger. Over and out, Inko said as she turns the disc off and grabs her purse and started to put on her shoes. I don't know what's your plan, Vilgax, but I'll make you pay of what you and your associate did to Hisashi. Inko thought darkly as she finished putting on her shoes and left the apartment. With Izuku, the acceptance rate at U.A was as low as it always was. 1 in 300 to be inaccurate. For people got into the heroic course through recommendations with Momo being 1. And 36 through the regular exams. They were split into 2 classes of 20 students each. Class 1A 1A 1A. Come on, where is it? Izuku was currently running down the hallways of U.A while looking for his homeroom. He kept looking until... Ah, there it is, Izuku said, happy to have found his classroom, but that happiness turned into shock as he saw the size of the door. Oh man, this thing is huge. Are there giants here? Izuku said before grabbing his oversized yellow backpack tightly. The most promising students are waiting behind this door, Izuku said, preparing himself to open the door. But he imagined Bakugo, who looked more savage than even and ready to attack him, and the glasses boy who looked like he was ready to talk down on him. Izuku shook those images out of his head. Maybe we're in different classes. Maybe everyone in here is nice and friendly and... Take your feet off that desk now. Ha! Izuku cut himself off when he saw the 2 people he really didn't want to see in the same room as he was in. It's the first day and already you're disrespecting this academy by placing your feet on school property, you hooligan, Glasses boy said as Bakugo snorted at him. You're kidding me, right? Your old school put a stick up your ass or you were born with it, Bakugo said as Izuku quietly watched the 2 argue. Just my luck, Izuku thought while the blue-haired glasses boy was speechless until he made up his mind. Let's start over. I am Tenya Ida from the Sumai Academy. The now named Ida introduced himself to Bakugo in a diplomatic way. Sumai, huh? So you must think that you're better than me. I'm gonna have fun kicking your ass. Bakugo relied, thinking that Ida had challenged him. You would threat me? Your own classmate? Are you sure you're in the right place? Ida asked, taken back from the threat Bakugo gave out. /N. I was threatened in school once on the first day as a guy who was in my grade. Thought that I was going after his girlfriend at the time when really we're cousins. He didn't last long after my cousin heard about the threat. The 2 paused their argument when they saw Izuku standing at the door. It's him, Ida said as everyone looked to where he was staring at while they were watching the argument and saw Izuku there. Izuku noticed the stares and immediately got nervous from the stares. Hi. Izuku greeted to them as Ida started to walk to him. Good morning. I am Tenya Ida from the Sumai Dash. Why yeah. I know. Izuku cuts Ida off as he was introducing himself. I'm Izuku Midoriya. It's nice to meet you, Izuku said as everyone's eyes went wide from his name. Izuku Midoriya? Isn't he the one who placed first in the exam? That's the kid? He doesn't seem that powerful. He looks so plain looking. The students were talking among themselves as to how strong Izuku was and why was he in first place as a few students looked at him and thought differently. It's him. The boy who saved me the exam. He got in like they said he would. Now I can thank him for the save, thought a short girl of a relatively slender build with notably large hands. Her appearance was frog-like. She had a very wide mouth, which dips down a little in the middle just like that of a common frog, and oval-shaped eyes with large, black irises, their lower eyelashes visibly pronounced. Her hair was a dark sea-green color, and is very long, reaching all the way to her waist, the ends tied together at the bottom in a bow of hair. She had 2 shoulder-length clumps framing her face, and shorter bangs between her eyes, some of them partially swept to each side. She looked at Izuku while her tongue came out of her mouth a little. So that's him, huh? I'm glad he'd here so I can at least get some answers. Maybe he's like me. Another girl thought as she was there in the exam when Izuku transformed and destroyed the 0-pointer and saw that he transformed back to himself. She needed answers. He's in my class. I'm glad he's here, Momo thought. She hadn't heard from Izuku since the exam until the night after the results were released. She got a call from him to apologize for not talking to her for a week. He was scared and stressed that he failed the exam that he couldn't call her. She understood his situation and accepted the apologize after he took her out on a fun day around the city and she had fun. Izuku and Ida were talking to themselves as a familiar girl walked behind them. Hey, I recognize that messed up hair. Transforming boy. The two turned to see the brown-haired girl from the exam standing behind Izuku, which startled Izuku and was close to transform before he recognized her and blushed. Oh my gosh, it's one of those girls who needed help. She looks good in that uniform, Izuku thought while missing as to what she was saying. That punch was amazing, the girl said, which she did a punching gusher in the air. Oh hey hi. Oh my gosh. I should probably be thanking you and that other girl for going to the teachers and talking to them, Izuku said while going atomic red, which confused the girl. Huh, how'd you know about that? The girl asked in curiosity about the fact he knows. While they were talking, Bakugo was looking at Izuku with hate in his eyes as he remembered what happened 1 month ago. Flashback. March. The two were called in by their teacher to congratulate them for making it into U.A. I can't believe we have not one but 2 students from our school heading off to UA, and it's hard to believe that you're one for the Midoriya. It's a miracle. The teacher complimented Izuku and Bakugo, who the green-haired boy flushed at the compliment while the other looked mad at him. Outside in an alleyway, Bakugo shoved Izuku into a wall while using his quirk on his shoulders. What did you do to pass the exam? You must have cheated somehow, right? Bakugo interrogated Izuku in pure anger, which scared Izuku. I'm supposed to be the first and only student from this crappy school to get into UA, but you went and had to screw that all up, and you placed first in the exam. I told you not to apply. Bakugo shouted in anger until he felt something grab his wrist. He looked down and saw Izuku grabbing his right wrist with shaky hands. Kaken, someone I look up to told me that I can become a hero. That's why I applied. That's why I'm going. They've helped me since something happened to me and supported me to go to UA. That's why I'm going. To make them proud and to reach my dream for being a hero. So like it or not, you can't stop me. Izuku yelled as his eyes showed fire in them. Bakugo looked on until his face felt anger. He punched Izuku in the stomach, and as the boy fell, he blew him up with an explosion to the back that hurt but left no evidence on him. As Izuku laid on the ground, trying to catch his breath, Bakugo just walked away, not once saying a word. End flashback. I'm gonna ruin that little shit. Right after I figure out how he got in, Bakugo thought and looked away from Izuku and the girl as they continued to talk. I wonder what we're doing today beside orientation. I wonder what our teachers are like. Oh, I can't wait to meet everybody, the girl said with bubbly joy in her voice as Izuku tried to make himself invisible from how the girl was talking to him. He looked around and saw Momo and smiled at her as she returned one for her own. If you're here to make friends, that you can pack up your stuff now. A voice interrupted as Izuku got startled while the girl froze and slowly turned around to see a yellow caterpillar with a man face on it on the floor by the door. /N. Hey, that rhymed. Welcome to U.A's hero course, the man said as he unzips from what he was in and drinks a juice box. What is that thing? Izuku, Ida, and the girl thought as the thing turned out to be a man. A slender and tall pale-skinned man with messy, shoulder-length black hair that was partially hangs in front of his face and had half-opened black eyes. He looked worn out like he just rolled out of bed. He had facial hair but it was unkempt and his eyes almost looked tired and flat. He was sporting a ragged black outfit that consists of a long-sleeved shirt and matching pants that tuck into his boots. He was wearing a utility belt and scarf that looked like wrapping. It took you 8 seconds to shut up. That's not gonna work, time is precious. Rational students would understand that, the man said as he finished getting out what was his sleeping bag. Who is this guy? If he's here then he must be some kind for pro. But he looks so worn out, what's his deal? Izuku thought as the man looked onto the class. Hello, I am Shota Aizawa, your teacher. The now named Aizawa introduced himself to the class with a tired voice. Our teacher. Izuku thought in shock that this guy was his new teacher. Aizawa goes into his sleeping bag. Alright, let's get to it. Put these on and head outside. Aizawa said as he pulls out a uniform that was a pair of dark blue pants with white vertical lines going up the legs and a dark blue short-sleeve shirt with white lines that form the letters, U and D. The class was confused by the request but did it so as they went to their locker rooms to change. Teacher's Lounge, UA High, Mizudafu, Japan. Toshi in his normal form was reading a book called Teacher's Dictionary. U.A doesn't follow academic path all most schools. Get the wrong homeroom teacher and life is hell here, All Might thought as Nizu walked in. Ah, there you are. I was looking for you, Nizu said, entering the room and holding something. Yes, sir, All Might said. I think you might want to see this, Nizu said as he hands Toshi a black book with staff records written on it. Outside a building. What? A quirk assessment test. The class muttered in shock together as they arrived outside to the field where Aizawa was waiting. But orientation. We're gonna miss it, the brown-haired girl said as she stood next to Izuku. If you want to make it into the big leagues, then you can't waste time on pointless ceremonies. Aizawa said, not once facing them as the class were a bit shocked by his words. Here at UA we're not bonded by traditions. That means that I can run my class in any way fit, Aizawa said as he looks back at his class to see the confused looks on most of their faces. You've been taking standardized tests most of your lives. But you never got to use your quirks in physical exams before, Aizawa said as he pulls out his phone and showed 8 things in a list. The country still thinks that we're created equal by not letting those with the most power excel. It's not rational. One day, the Ministry of Education will learn, Aizawa said before turning to Bakugu. Bakugu, you placed second place too with the most combat points. What was the farther distance you've thrown while you were in junior high? Aizawa asked Bakugu, who was mad. Being remained that he's second to Deku but kept his angry due to answer the question. 67 meters. I think, Bakugu answered as Aizawa pulls out a ball. Okay. Try doing it with your quirk, he said as he threw the ball to the walking TNT as he walks to a white circle. Anything goes. Just stay in the circle. Go on. You're wasting our time here, Aizawa instructed Bakugu as he stretches. Alright man, you asked for it, Bakugu said before turning to face the distance he was throwing. I'll add a little heat to my pitch and that'll drop their jaws. Bakugu though while lining up for his pitch. Die! Bakugu shouted as he used his quirk to blow the ball away as Izuku looked a bit scared. Is he saying that to the ball? Or me? All of you need to know you maximize capabilities, Aizawa said as the ball drops to the ground and his device records it. It that most rational way of thinking as a pro hero, Aizawa said before showing the class Bakugu's score. 705.2 meters. Whoa! 705 meters. Are you kidding me? One kid said. He had blonde hair with a black lightning strike streak on it. I wanna go. That looks like fun, one girl said. This girl was the one who on the floor had skin that was a light shade of pink, and she has rather square eyes. Her sclera was black while her irises were bright yellow, with notably long eyelashes below and around the sides. Her face is framed by short hair, fluffy and unruly, which is a pleasant pink color, slightly darker than that of her skin. She had 2 thin, pale yellow horns protruding from her head, hooked squarely and leaning diagonally to opposite sides, which are seen to be slightly flexible, able to bend a little to each side. Ah yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Using our quirks as much as we want, one kid said. He had large elbows and an ever-present grin on his face. The rest of the class start saying that this will be fun while Aizawa started to get pissed, which Izuku noticed. So this looks fun, huh? Aizawa said in monotone voice as Izuku get a bit nervous. You have 3 years here to become real heroes. You think it's gonna fun and playtime? Aizawa said as no one answered because the students were caught off guard by his tone. Aizawa suddenly grins. Idiots! Today, you'll be competing in 8 physical tests to gauge your potential. Whoever comes in last has none and will be expelled immediately. Aizawa finishes as the class goes into shocked mode. If one of them ends up in last place, then they're out. Crap. He got Aizawa, All Might said while slapping his head. Him and Nizu were looking into the staff records to see what their little student was and saw that he was in the hardest class. Now you see why he requested young Izuku to be in his class, Nizu said as he remembered the day Aizawa came into his office and requested to have Izuku in it. I know. He'll single young Midoriya out from the start, Toshi said as he knows how crazy Aizawa's classes get. Perhaps we should watch over him to see if he can handle the pressure, Nizu suggested as he needed to see if Izuku can handle this and not get expelled. Good idea, Toshi said and the two left the room. Immediate expulsion, 8 tests. Oh crap, not good. Izuku as he looks at the watch while his hand shook from the nerves. He could swear that the watch felt tighter than it actually is. I can only use OFA at either 100% or none right now, plus I don't know how to factor it in with my forms yet, Izuku thought. Like I said, I get to decide how I run this class. Izuku looked at his teacher to see that he lifted his hair and showed a crazed look. Understand. If you got a problem with it, you can head home right now, Aizawa said as the students looked nervous, ready, confident or scared. Izuku looked at Aizawa before he got a determined look on his face. You can't send one of us home. We just got here. Even if it wasn't the first day. It's not fair. Izuku turned to see the brown-haired girl as she spoke her mind to Aizawa. Oh, and you think natural disasters are? Aizawa shot back, causing the students to be quiet. Or power-hungry villains. Or catastrophic accidents that wipes out cities. No, the world is full of unfairness. It's a hero's job to combat that unfairness. If you want to be a pro, then you're going to have to push yourself to the point. For the next 3 years, U.A will throw one hardship at you one after the other. So go beyond. Plus ultra style. Show what you can do. Aizawa said as Ida takes out his water bottle and drinks from it while thinking. I don't approve for this hazing, but U.A is the top hero program. I have no choose. Ida thought after finishing his drink while Bakugu was rolling his arm around. Time to blow Theses nerds away and show that I'm the best here, Bakugu thought as the brown-haired girl looked serious. Now then, we're wasting time just by talking. Let the games begin, Aizawa said as Izuku looked at his watch. Insert music. My Hero Academia OST. Combat Training, Sento Kuinrin. Test 150 meters dash. Runners on your marks. A robot with a camera for a face said as Ida and the girl with the frog girl lined up at the start. A bullet sound went off and the two raced as Ida ran at fast speeds and crossed the finish line first with his time at 3.04 seconds with the girl not too far behind him with her time at 5.58 seconds. At 50 meters, I can only get up to third gear. Ida though. Tenya Ida work. Engine. His legs are pretty damn fast. Well, at least he's in his element, Aizawa commented. But speed won't help him in every test, Aizawa said as the next racers lined up to the start. I'll light up my clothes. Oh, and my shoes too, the brown-haired girl said as she taps her clothes and shoes. Achiko Uraraka work. Zero gravity. And start. The robot said as the girl named Uraraka runs. She can nullify the gravity of anything she touches. But if she uses her power too much, she'll throw up. As the race ended, Uraraka crossed the line second with a time of 7.05 seconds. Well, at least that faster than in junior high, Uraraka thought, happy with her results. The pair to race was the pink-skinned girl and the blonde French dude from the exam as he turns around. Nice attempts. But you're not showing enough style, he said as he bent a bit while facing the wrong way. He jumps and shoots a laser which pushes him at a fast speed. Yuga Aoyama work. Naval laser. That's right. A belly button laser. He loses speed and momentum as he falls to the ground and the pink-skinned girl skates by as he gets up and shoots again. But he can shoot it forever. Aoyama's time was 5.51 seconds. Shooting my lovely laser of more than a second hurts my tummy. Aoyama explained his one weakness like it was nothing as everyone looked at him. Water tool. Testing themselves to push their limits helps me asset in helping in room of growth. It becomes clear on what they can and can't do, Aizawa thought as the last two runners, Izuku and Bakugu lined up. Bakugu got into position while Izuku just stood there and went to the watch. Bakugu looked at him as he heard a beep and saw Izuku playing with the watch. What the hell is the nerd doing? Bakugu thought as he got red Y and the other watched Izuku. Hey, what the green-haired kid doing? A kid with red-haired asked as he saw Izuku playing with the watch. I don't know, but this gotta be good, the blonde-haired kid with the lighting strike on it said. Get ready. Start. BWO. Bang. 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 Bakugu used his quirk to propel himself forward and he thought that he had beaten Izuku, but a green flash hit where Izuku was standing and a green blur passed by him and crossed the finish line first at a time of 1.00 seconds while he got a 4.13 seconds. The students were in utter shock at the record of the speed that was just witnessed as they looked to see how did Izuku do it. They watched as the dust cleared and saw something that resembled a semi-armored velociraptor. This thing had black orbs on his feet and wears a black conoid helmet with a visor with green lines on it. Oh man. What a rush. The form spoke as its visor came up and everyone can see that he had a blue face, green eyes, black lips, and freckles in its cheeks. He was tall and lean. He has 4 blue stripes on his tail and was wearing the same uniform that everyone else was wearing. Everyone was shocked to say anything. The boys thought that the record was impressive. Ida looked at Izuku and then to his hands. He beaten my record like it was nothing. He is better than me, Ida thought. He finally transformed, Uraraka said, happy that Izuku transformed but was shocked when he transformed to another form. What speed? His quirk is powerful. Momo thought after seeing Izuku transform and show such speed. She wanted to know more about his quirk. A kinoceleran? I thought that he was a tetramand. No, something's up. And I'll get the answers from him later. One girl thought as she really needed answers now. What the fuck was that? Bakugo thought as he was in a state for shock, confusion and anger as he saw the time and form Izuku was in. If he had a quirk, he would have gotten it when we were kids. This should be possible. No, he's up to something and it has to do with that watch. Bakugo thought as he was shaking in anger. Interesting, he's fast but I feel like there's more to him than that. I have to keep my eye on him. One boy thought. He was reasonably tall, rather muscular. He had quite long hair, though it doesn't pass his neck, and wears bangs, parted twice as to not obscure his vision. His hair was evenly split between two colors, white on his right side and crimson red on his left, this unusual coloring being due to his quirk. As another result of this, he also possesses heterochromia iridium, which caused his left eye's iris to appear turquoise, while his right was a somewhat brownish dark gray. His eyes, in shape, are quite thin and reserved, and he also has a large burn scar on the left side of his face, which reaches from his hairline to halfway down his cheek. Even thought I used XLR8 for this. I didn't feel OFA at all. How can I call it in my forms? Izuku asked himself when he remembered the conversation he had with Toshi the night he got his results. You'll get it one day, both in form and in yourself. All Might said as Izuku tapped the faceplate and transformed back into himself and had a determined look on his face. Aizawa looked at Izuku and had a scowl on his face. He's not going full out. I have to break him to do it, Aizawa thought. Test 2. Grip strength. In a gym, the students were busy doing the grip strength test as they were busy gripping the machine. Wow, you hit 540 kilograms. You're a beast. The kid with the large elbows complimented a classmate who was tall and had a mask on. He had multiple limbs on his arms as he used them to clock in his strength. Yeah, you're a muscle octopus, another kid said. He was the shortest out of all of them and he had purple balls for hair. Izuku turned on the watch as he was scrolling through the select wheel. He went past forms until he saw the face of the four-armed one. Okay, let's go, Izuku said as he slams down onto the watch and started to transform. But instead of veins coursing to his arm, he had green stripes that resemble circuitry going all around him. His skin started to turn black as the green stripes continued to go over him until one green circle on his head as his body stretched and reformed into something that looked machinery. When the transformation finished, he had a black exterior with a green circle on his head is his eye, which glows whenever he talks, and his body had the green circuitry stripes all over him. Izuku's front torso was green with black circuitry patterns and the watch's symbol on his chest. What upgrade? I thought I hit on 4 arms. Izuku spoke in his normal voice, but it sounded like he was talking through a radio as the circle glowed while he was talking. Well, I can work with this, Upgrade said as he grabs the grip machine and went into it. Everyone looked at where Izuku was and to see that he wasn't there, and they saw the grip machine on the floor, but they saw that it was different from theirs. This one looked more upgraded and it was black and green. They looked around to see where Izuku was. Hey, where'd that green-haired kid go? The red-haired asked. I'm down here. Everyone looked down to the grip machine as they heard Izuku speaking from the machine. Midoriya? Is that you? Ida asked. Yes, it's me. Can someone hold me while I do my test? Izuku asked once the frog-looking girl named Tsuyu Azui stepped forward. I'll do it, Tsuyu said as she picked Izuku up and saw the numbers go up until they stopped at 999 kilograms. How is that possible? The same large elbows kid said in shock. Is that even allowed? The kid with the balls of hair asked. Well, he is using his quirk and he is technically the grip measure machine. So I guess it's legal, Ida said as Izuku stepped out of the machine and tapped the watch to return to normal. TT, thanks for holding me. Izuku thanked Azui while feeling embarrassed from the fact that a girl was holding him. No problem. It's the least I can do, Karo, Azui said as Bakugo looked at Izuku with rage on his face. Deku. He hissed out the name he gave Izuku many years ago. Test 3. Standing long jump. The class returned outside to a sandpit so they can do the long jump test. Some of them did well here, like the laser boy who used his naval laser to shoot across the sandpit. Bakugo to push himself off the ground and fly through the air. Azui jumped over the sandpit using her jumping skills and cleared the pit as well. Izuku transformed again, but this time into Heat Blast. He shot fire from his hands and soared through the sky and cleared not just the sandpit but landed on the other side of the field. The duo-haired kid grabbed his left arm when he saw Heat Blast fly in the air and using fire to do it. Izuku transformed back to himself and started to think about his time. Okay, so I used 3 forms and it took them a minute to use. So I think I have about 6 minutes left on my time and about 3 for recharge. I think I should do some of test as me, Izuku thought as he reached the others. Test 4. Repeated sidesteps. One student was great at this as he used the balls on his head and bounced from them side to side at a great speed. Bakugo used his quirk to shot from side to side, but it was nothing compared to Izuku, who used XLR8 again and was an afterimage as he used the sheer speed of XLR8 and left a huge trench after he was done. End music. Test 5. Ball throw. Izuku, who transformed back to himself, watched his classmates throw the ball in different uses. Some impressed him, like Momo, who made a cannon from her body and shot the ball, earning 875.5 meters. He was happy for her score, but unfortunately, not really. Izuku was one of the few that saw her breasts as she opened her jacket to use her quirk to its fullest. As Momo started to walk back to the group, she noticed that Izuku was looking away with a blush on his face. Izuku looked at her a little as she smiled and winked at him, which caused him to stutter and have steam come out of his head. She loved his reaction. She discovered that if she teased Izuku, he would not function well and start to hide himself, and she loved his reaction as it proved to her that Izuku's isn't a pervert and that he was innocent. Uraraka was up next, and she used her quirk to take away the gravity of the ball and casually threw the ball in the air as it flew. Continued to fly until infinity. The class shouted at record that Uraraka set while Bakugo started to really shake in anger. These extras are beating me? Who do they think they are? I'm supposed to be the best, me, Bakugo thought as Izuku's turn was next. The boy went to the circle and started to scroll through the selections to pick his next form. The class looked at him as they were wondering what will he transform into next. So, what do you think he'll turn into next? A petite girl with long earlobes with AUX jacks on the ends asked. I don't know, but he must have something strong since we only got 3 quirks from him, the red-haired kid said with an excited grin on his face. He does. They turned to Uraraka, who had an excited look on her face. He turned into that 4-armed form of his and saved me and that other girl from the Zero Ponitor, Uraraka said as the red-haired kid looked at her in shock. What? Seriously? He said as he heard about that a person with 4 arms punched the giant robot with 1 punch. He saw the other kid with extra limbs on his arms and assumed that to his surprise, he said it wasn't him who did. Bakugo was really mad. He never thought that useless Deku could beat him in not 1, not 2, not 3 but 4 tests. He didn't get his useless parent's quirk, and to see him with a quirk that was actually more powerful and stronger than his was not right. He knew that it had something to do with the watch, obviously. He was that observant. He watched as Izuku was looking at a floating circle on the faceplate as the faceplate slid back and slammed down on it and transformed. What he didn't know as to how it factored into his quirk. I'm gonna get my answers from him. Even if I have to kill him to get it or break that stupid watch to do it. Bakugo swore to himself as a green flash appeared and Izuku vanished in it. That remained the class that Izuku was full of surprises. Yes. Finally. I got 4 arms. Izuku shouted as he was in 4-arm, which he was wearing the P uniform and his fingerless gloves. Okay, that's it. I give up. How many quirks does the guy have? The blonde-haired kid with the lighting strike on it threw his arms up. It's him. He's the one who punched that robot. The masked kid said he witnessed the event in person. 4 arms went to the circle and lined his pitch up. 4 arms threw the ball his might as a shockwave to happened, causing everyone to shield their eyes from the force. As the wind started to die down, they saw Izuku standing waiting for his result. He didn't have to wait long as a beep rang from Aizawa's phone, and he looked at it, and started to get mad. He showed the class Izuku's record. 889.9 meters. Whoa, that's insane, a guy with thick lips said while looking at Izuku's score. Yes, he's finally shown us his true power, Uraraka said, happy that her savior had shown his strength. It appears that his quirk is very useful in different situations, Ida said while analyzing Izuku's form. It wasn't a pretty throw, Aoyama said while sparkles were around for some reason. Bakugo was getting closer to blowing his fuse as he saw Izuku's score. That little shit beat me again. Damn it, there's that Tetraman form for his? But why is this one the normal red instead of the green one I saw in the exam? One girl thought as she really needed answers now. As Izuku was about to step out of the circle, A cloth wrapped around his legs, causing him to fall, which caused a noise since he was big. What the? Izuku said before he looked at where the wrapping started and saw Mr. Aizawa looking at him with his eyes glowing red and giving Izuku a nasty glare while his hair was floating in the air. Izuku Midoriya. Placed number 1 in the entrance exam with a score of 85 rescue point and no combat points. Your quirk? Unstable genetics, but here's 2 things I find funny. 1. You were registered as quirkless since you were younger until last month, that is, and 2. Why can't I erase your quirk? Aizawa said as Izuku looked confused. You tried to do what? Izuku asked before noticing a pair of yellow goggles around Aizawa's neck. Wait. Those goggles. I know you. You look at someone and cancel out their powers. You're the underground hero. The eraser hero? Eraserhead. Izuku said as the faceplate on his shoulder started to flash red. Eraserhead? Who's that? Oh, I think I heard of him. He works on the down low. While the students were talking amongst themselves, Nizu and All Might were watching next to far from them behind a building. Aizawa is one of those guys who didn't like the media because he thinks they interfere with our work. And he judges celebrity heroes like me because I look great in the spotlight. All Might thought while Aizawa was still looking down at Izuku. You've been holding back this entire test. Aizawa said as the beeping from the faceplate began. Beep 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 BWO. Everyone closed their eyes from the red flash that went off from Izuku when the beeping stopped. They open their eyes and see Izuku back in his normal form. He's been holding back. The class muttered in shock together while Aizawa ignored them and faced Izuku. I saw your exam. You used a different power-up to take on the zero-pointer, and from what I saw just now, you can't call it at will since it changes your form. And I saw the backlash it had on you and your time limit. Are you planning on breaking your bones again and waiting on someone to come and save you after you knock yourself out? Aizawa asked as Izuku was taken back from his question. What? No, that's not it at all. Izuku yelled as Aizawa wrapped him up again and brought Izuku to him closer. No matter how powerful you are, you're nothing than a liability in battle if you can't even control your full quirk. Imagine if your support item went offline and you couldn't control your full quirk in your normal form. Then what? Aizawa said as Izuku's eyes went wide at the question since it happened already to him. You have the same passion as another hero I regretful know. One who saved 1,000 people by himself and became a legend. Aizawa said as he looks over his shoulder a bit and sees All Might peeping over the corner. But even with that drive, you're worthless if you can't control your full strength and break down after going full out and throwing a single attack. Aizawa said before looking down to Izuku once more. Sorry, Midoriya. But even with your power and skills, you can never become a hero, Aizawa said as Izuku's eyes widened before glaring right back at Aizawa. Aizawa released Izuku, who looked down as his hair fell and closed his eyes. It's pointless to me to use my quirk on you, since you aren't affected by it, but I returned it anyway. Take the throw Aegis and don't hold back. Aizawa said as he starts to walk away a bit but stops. And Midoriya, Izuku looks at him. Yes, sir. Izuku asked. Surprise me with something new. Aizawa said before throwing another ball to Izuku as the boy looked shocked a bit but walks back to the circle and looked at the ball. I wonder what the teacher told him? Ida asked, wondering what the two were talking about. He probably told him to get lost and fuck off. Bakugo said with hate in his voice as Aoyama was talking to Uraraka, who didn't know who he was. I got one shot at this, but the watch is in the red and I have no control of OFA yet. Izuku whispered to himself as Aizawa looked on. Is he going to continue to hold back and get expelled or go full out and forfeit the rest of the exam like a fool? Aizawa thought as he applies eye drops to his eyes. Either way, he doesn't belong here. Izuku continued to look down and try to come up with some form for plan. Should I just use OFA and lose the rest of the tests or think of some way to do this? Izuku thought as Bakugo was getting mad. Hurry the fuck up, you useless DKU. Hurry up so we can see you leave. Bakugo roared out while letting an explosion out. He was ready to blow Izuku up as Aizawa glared at Bakugo and that to Izuku for holding up the line. Izuku was about to panic and give up when, beep, insert music. My Hero Academia OST. You say run. He heard a miracle. He looked down and saw the watch was back on the green and rushed through the selection bar as he was looking for forearms again. Please let this work. Izuku thought as he slammed down on the watch's button, but it didn't go as lighting surged a bit, and as a green flash appeared and Izuku vanished in it. Izuku feel energy rush through him as he was changing. Aizawa and everyone else had to close their eyes to protect them from the bright light. They opened their eyes as the flash stopped. They looked to the place where Izuku was, and all were shocked to see a humanoid dinosaur-like creature, with dark blue armor. He was burly and muscular. He had camo green skin and was wearing a helmet that had 3 silver spikes running down the top, and 2 downward pointing black horns on the sides. His back armor had long spikes running down each side. His plated chest and torso are dark blue with 5 spikes on each end, and his tail has a blue mace on the end of it, with silver spikes. And on his knuckles were silver barrels on them. The watch's symbol on his chest. Guess the alien form. Izuku looked down to himself and saw that he was someone different and new. Whoa, who's this guy? I thought that I hit on 4 arms. Izuku said as everyone was shocked at the new form. Whoa? What the hell is that? The short purple-haired kid shouted in fear of how scary Izuku looked. I don't know, man. The blonde-haired kid with the lighting strike on it said with equal fear. Whoa! The girl with the earjacks said in shock. Izuku. What is that? Momo though while she saw Izuku's new form. What form is that? It looks familiar, but I can't tell what species he is. The girl thought as he watched Izuku. Quick! Get me the ball. Izuku said as Aizawa picked up the ball and Izuku held it as he lined up the pitch. As he was about to throw the ball, green lighting surged around him as his hand had familiar red vein-like lines, and Izuku shouted a phrase he knew too well. Smash! Izuku yelled out as the ball soared through the sky and caused a massive shockwave that pushed everyone to the ground. Izuku's right hand looked like it had better hands as it looked broken and bleeding from the backlash of OFA. Aizawa heard a beeping sound from his phone. He looked at it and his eyes went wide from what he saw. Mr. Aizawa. Aizawa looked up and saw Izuku looking down to him with a toothy grin on his face. As you can see, I'm still standing, Izuku said while clutching his hand. Aizawa gave Izuku a satisfied smile. This kid, Aizawa said as he got up and showed the class Izuku's new score. 104 kilometers. End music. What? He threw it over 100 kilometers. The class shouted at the score. That's so manly. Yes, he did it. He unleashed his full power. Uraraka shouted in pure joy as she saw the record. Momo felt relief at Izuku's new score, but that turned to shock at the sight of his hand. Suyu and the other girl sighed in relief as well. Yes, but at what cost? He got the same backlash just like in the exam. His quirk is not strange, Ida said. Bakugu was back in the state for shock, confusion and anger he was in earlier when he saw Izuku's score. His hands were popping as Izuku tapped the faceplate and returned to normal with some lighting sparking off his chest. That's it. DKU, you fuck. Bakugu shouted as he rushed to Izuku as the poor boy saw Bakugu rushing to him with his hand out, using his quirk to blow him up. Bakugu grabbed Izuku's left wrist where the watch was and pinned him to the ground. Tell me how you did that or you fucking dead. Bakugu demanded as Izuku cried out in pain as his hand was in the wrong position and couldn't say a word. I said, tell how you did that or you fucking dead. Is it this stupid watch that gave you a quirk? Bakugu shouted at Izuku before Izuku could answer. The two saw the watch start to beep as energy coursed off the watch until, beep, bomb. A massive feedback of green energy blew Bakugu off Izuku and set him flying to the air and fell to the ground hard as Izuku flew as well but skid on the ground a bit. Izuku got up and saw Bakugu on the ground not too far from the class as he started to stir. Bakugu looked up and he had a look that he wanted to kill Izuku so bad. Izuku looked at the watch and saw it was in the green and was ready. Deku. Bakugu hissed out the nickname and charged to Izuku again as Izuku was close to transform. But before he could, Aizawa threw his wrapping onto Bakugu, causing the TNT to stop moving. What? Why's your damn scarf was strong? Bakugu asked as Aizawa was glaring at Bakugu with his eyes glowing red and giving him the same nasty glare while his hair was floating in the air. Because it's a capture weapon that is made from carbon fiber and a special metal alloy, Aizawa answered as he looked at him. Stand down. I'll give this one time free, but if you attack anyone, on or off campus, I will expel you. Understood? Aizawa said as Bakugu was taken back from this. No one stood up of Deku during their times in school. Did the teachers at U.A have a backbone? Aizawa released Bakugu as Izuku walked by him as he remembered the times they hung out together as kids. Everyone was stunned by Bakugu's attack. Momo looked at him in shock and disgust. Disgusting. What unhero-like behavior. He seems to know Izuku-kun well and judging by his reaction and attack to Izuku, he doesn't like him. Momo thought as she walks to her friend, seeing that he was in pain. Is your hand all right, Izuku-kun? Momo asked. Ida and Uraraka were coming to him as well. Why yeah, it's fine, Izuku said before he hissed in pain. Please, allow me to help you, Izuku-kun, Momo said as she started to make bandages. Until the exam, he was nothing but a bug. A bug that could have crushed if I wanted to. But now he's a fucking lion, Bakugo thought as he watched Momo help Izuku with his hand. The rest of the tests were easier of Izuku. He only need XLR8. He blazed through the sit-ups at a great speed, the seated toe touch thanks to the surprisingly flexibility of XLR8 and the long-distance running, but lost to Momo when he timed out in the last part. Alright, time to give you your results. I've rated you from best to worst and took in some factors and then to have balanced the results out. You should probably have a good idea to where your standing is already. I'll pull up the whole list since it'll be a waste to go through it one by one, Aizawa said as he used his phone and made a hologram screen. Please don't let it be me, please don't let it be me, please don't let it be me, Izuku thought as he opened his eyes and saw the list. Number 1, Izuku Midoriya. Number 2, Momo Yaoyorozu. Number 3, Shoto Todoroki. Number 4, Katsuki Bakugo. Number 5, Tenya Ida. Number 6, Fumikage Tokiyomi. Number 7, Mizo Shoji. Number 8, Mashireo Ojiro. Number 9, Eijiro Kirishima. Number 10, Mina Ashido. Number 11, Achiko Uraraka. Number 12, Koji Koda. Number 13, Rikido Sato. Number 14, Tsuyu Azui. Number 15, Yuga Aoyama. Number 16, Hantasiro. Number 17, Denki Kaminari. Number 18, Kyoka Jairu. Number 19, Toru Hagakure. Number 20, Minoru Mineta. Izuku's eyes went wide. He got first, again. I don't believe it, Izuku said in shock as he felt someone grab his shoulder and turned to see Momo, smiling at him. Congratulations, Izuku. I knew you could do it, she said as Izuku blushed. TT thanks Momo. I have TT to thank you for helping me with my injury. I wouldn't have continued if you didn't help me out. And you too for placing second, Izuku said with a smile as Momo looked at him. Something inside her felt warm when she heard him say that as she looked at that smile of his. Too cute. Wait, what? She thought. Before anyone could talk, they heard a panic scream. They turned to see the purple-haired kid who was running around in panic mode. And oh, I can't leave until. I haven't even get a girl to like me yet. The kid shouted as he cried, blood. /N. I was shocked when I saw Mineta crying blood during the exam. I mean, how is that possible? Oh, and no one's going home. That was a lie to force you to push yourselves beyond, Aizawa said casually as everyone except Momo, Bakugo, the two-tone kid and Izuku to freeze and look at him in comedic shock. What? Of course. It was a lie. I should have said something about it, Momo said while turning to Izuku, who sighed a breath of relief out before she smirks as an idea came to her head. Oh, he knew too, Momo said while pointing to Izuku, who looked at her in shock before turning to the class and saw some of them glaring at him. Seriously? Izuku asked as Momo giggled at his reaction. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. You're too easy to tease, Momo said as one girl heard that and smirked. Okay, that's it for today. Pick up a syllabus and read it before tomorrow morning, Aizawa said as he started to walk as Izuku rook and big breath. Midoriya. Izuku turned and saw Aizawa look at him. Well done today, you impressed me. Keep up the work, problem child. Oh, and go to the old lady and get patched up. You'll need it cause tomorrow things will get hectic when you start to actually train, Aizawa said as he was walking away. But, sir, he turns to see the pink-skinned girl walking to them. Yes, Aizawa asked. Is it okay if I walk with him to the nurse's office? I need to get my feet checked since I might have burned them with my acid, the girl asked as Aizawa looked at her. Such whatever, Aizawa said as she walked away to the building. Come on, let's go, the girl said as she grabbed Izuku's arm and started dragging him to the nurse's office as Momo, Uraraka, Tsuyu looked at them walking away before they walked to the locker rooms to change. Aizawa was walking by the gym until... Aizawa, that was a rotten move. Aizawa turned to see All Might standing next to him. All Might, so you were watching. No talk shows today? He asked. Yes, we were. Now, we need to talk, All Might said as Aizawa wasn't looking at him. Look, I can do what wait. Did you say we? Aizawa asked as the words All Might said caught up with his mind. Yes, we. A voice popped from All Might's shoulder and Aizawa looked up to see News, his boss on All Might's shoulder. PP Principal Nizu, Aizawa said, hesitantly from the sight of his boss. Hello Shota. We need to talk about something with you, your class, and Izuku Midoriya. With Izuku. Izuku was walking with the pink skin girl to the nurse's office in silence. This is so awkward, Izuku thought as they continued to walk until. So, how's Udata been for you? The girl asked Izuku. WWL, it's been good so far. Even if our teacher tired to lie to us, Izuku said, still remembering the words Aizawa told him. I know, right? I was so worried that I was gonna fail, but I'm glad I got through, the girl said with a grin. Why yeah. Hey, I didn't get your name, Izuku said, realized that they never introduced each other. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm Mina Ashido. The now named Mina introduced herself to Izuku. And I'm Izuku. I know. I heard you say your name this morning. Mina cuts Izuku off as he was introducing himself. Oh, right, sorry, Izuku said as the two were getting close to the nurses. Hey Midori? Mina said, which caught Izuku's attention. Why yeah. Can I ask you a question? Mina asked. SS sure. Izuku said as Mina suddenly pushed Izuku under the stairs and pinned him between the wall with her arms, and she looked straight into his eyes. Where did you find the Omnitrix? Mina asked as Izuku looking confused. That's the 5th part finished. If you want to catch up on the earlier chapters, head to the playlist. Please remember to support the author. I'll be back with more soon. Thanks for being awesome.